What's up, folks? Money Gamer here. Imagine you're starting a new RPG staring at that character creation screen. You've got classes like Warrior, Mage, Rogue, each with strengths that shape how you'll play the game. Pick the wrong one and you're grinding forever, frustrated because nothing feels right. Now, think about your career. That same feeling of being stuck in a job that drains you, where the paychecks come, but the progress feels like a slog. What if choosing your career class based on your natural strengths could turn that around, building wealth like leveling up with the perfect build? Stick around and let's explore how to pick yours wisely. Okay, so let's reframe this whole idea of picking a career. Most of us grow up hearing the same advice: go to college, get a stable job, climb the ladder. It's like following a linear quest line in a game without checking if it even matches what you want to do. But here's why that common approach often fails: it ignores who you really are. We chase titles or salaries because society says they're good, but end up in roles that clash with our wiring. Maybe you're an introvert forced into sales, feeling exhausted every day, or a creative type stuck in spreadsheets, wondering why motivation evaporates. Early in my career, I jumped around in roles that sounded prestigious, like a scrum master gig with important teams. On paper, it was really solid. I got steady pay and benefits, and I got continually that feeling of feeling important. But it always felt off, like I was playing healer when I'm more of a strategist who thrives on analyzing systems from behind the scenes. The burnout became real, and financially, I wasn't building momentum because I wasn't leveraging what came naturally to me. So let's normalize this. If you're in your 20s or 30s feeling lost, you're not alone. Studies on job satisfaction show over half of workers are disengaged, often because they picked paths based on external pressure rather than their internal strengths. It's like equipping gear that doesn't synergize with your class or wearing leather gear when you could be wearing mail or plate. Sure, you survive, but you don't thrive. And the result is that you get stagnant wages, side quests for extra cash, and that quiet anxiety about never catching up. Now let's break down the psychology and behavior behind choosing a career class that actually supports wealth building. Think of wealth not just money in the bank, but as sustainable growth over time, like compounding experience in an MMO. In games like World of Warcraft or ESO, your class determines your toolkit. Warriors are going to tank damage, mages are going to deal AoE bursts, and rogues are going to sneak in for the precision strikes and openers. If you translate that to real life, your class is built on personal strengths, those innate abilities that make tasks feel effortless and fun. Psychologically, this ties into self determination theory, which says we perform best when work aligns with our autonomy, our competence, and our relatedness. If you're competent in something, say problem solving, like in strategy games such as Civilization or XCOM, you'll stick with it longer, leading to mastery and higher earnings. But if you ignore that, behavioral biases kick in. There's the sunk cost fallacy. You've invested years in a field, so you stay even if it's a mismatch. Or the status quo bias, where change feels riskier than staying put. I see this in a lot of my friends and peers who grinded into these corporate jobs only to realize in their mid 30s or later that they're underleveled financially because the role doesn't play to their strengths. Let's look at a best friend of mine. He's huge into tactical shooters like Helldivers 2, Hunt Showdown, and Battlefield, where quick decisions under pressure win the day. He started in manual labor, stable, but it was soul crushing for his adrenaline seeking brain. When he eventually got the opportunity to switch into engineering doing failure analysis, where debugging issues felt like clearing missions, suddenly his promotions came faster, the side projects turned into income, and his joy for his work compounded. There's a gaming analogy here. It's like respecking your character mid game. In Star Wars The Old Republic or OSRS, you can pivot your classes or the skills that you're focusing on, but it costs resources. And it's the same in careers. Switching might mean short term dips, but long term, it unlocks better loot. Hey, and if you like this content so far, please give me a like or a subscribe or drop a comment. It really helps the channel out, and I love to hear what's going on in your lives. All right, back to the content. There's another layer here. Behavioral economics show that we undervalue our unique traits. Maybe you're analytical like me with my artificial intelligence, program management, software engineering background, where breaking down complex systems feels like optimizing a build in Satisfactory. Or perhaps you're empathetic, great at team building, which shines in management and consulting. In board games like Terraforming Mars, which I've played a ton with my friends, the winner usually isn't the one with the flashiest start. It's the one who builds an engine that compounds passively. Careers work the same. Pick a class and a start that lets your strengths create passive wealth, like investments or scalable skills. But here's where things get interesting. Not all strengths are obvious. Some are hidden passives, like in RPGs, where a perk unlocks at a higher level and you don't find it until later you're scrolling through your spellbook and there it is. For instance, my reflective nature from years of MMO raiding, planning strats, managing resources, translates to financial strategy. In real life, that meant shifting from hands on coding to overseeing projects where patience pays off in bigger contracts. Picture this: you're in an RPG and you've been forcing a melee build, but deep down, you're a ranged specialist. Everything clicks when you switch. That's the aha. Your career class isn't about the job title, it's the intersection of what you're good at and what the world values. Realize that, and wealth building shifts from grind to flow. Suddenly, opportunities compound because you're not fighting your nature, you're enhancing it. Building on that insight, let's hit a turning point: the mindset shift that changes how you approach decisions. Instead of asking, what's the highest paying job, ask, what class lets me level up sustainably? This reframes everything toward long term freedom. In games, freedom means exploring the open world without gear limits. In life, it's financial independence to pursue passions. The shift starts with self awareness. Drop the comparison trap. Social media shows everyone's highlight reels like max level characters flexing epics. Focus on your stats. What is energizing you? What drains you? I learned this the hard way reflecting on MMO habits where I spent hours theory crafting builds but never actually playing anything. That pointed me towards roles in complex systems, like AI projects, where strategic thinking compounds value over time. This mindset ties directly to freedom. Choose a mismatched class and you're capped. Limited raises, burnout quits. Align it and doors open. Networking feels natural, skills scale, and wealth grows exponentially. Think compound interest. Small daily wins in the right field add up, like increasing your cash production in terraforming Mars. The result? Not just money, but time, freedom to game, freedom to travel, or chill without the grind hovering. Now for practical takeaways. Remember, progress over perfection. You don't need a full respec overnight, just start small. First, let's inventory your strengths. Spend 15 minutes listing tasks that fly by versus those that drag. It's like checking your skill tree. Second, research classes that match. Look at the fields where your strengths are assets. Use sites like LinkedIn for ideas, but don't put pressure on. And third, test side quests, freelance gigs, or courses to dip toes without quitting. In games, you can trial character builds in low stake zones. We should do the same here. Here's a quick action you can take today. Grab a notebook and divide it into two columns: energizers and drainers. Jot down work tasks or hobbies that fit into each. Then circle the top 3 energizers and brainstorm careers that amplify them. This simple audit reveals your natural class, setting you up for wealth without the force fit. Finally, as we wrap, take a breath. You're not behind, you're just mid-game with plenty of levels ahead of you. Picking your career class is about playing to win your way, turning finance into a strategy that you enjoy. It's empowering knowing small shifts lead to big freedoms. If this resonated, hit that like button, subscribe for more gamer-minded money talks, and drop a comment. What's one strength you're leaning into? Thanks for hanging out. Catch you in the next one.